John Lynch, welcome back to Indy, your fifth NFL scouting combine as the 49ers GM. How exciting is it just to be here? One of the first big events of the offseason aimed at improving the 49ers roster.
Yeah, it's always exciting. It's eventful. It's busy. There's a lot going on, a lot of committee meetings, a lot of meetings with other GMs around the league. I think it's just good and productive when the entire league convenes in one spot. Then the real purpose is to have a good look at the incoming prospects in the draft, and I would tell you that I think the primary thing is the medical that we get from here. The league does a tremendous job. The players all come, and we get the best medical information that we can gather from them. In addition to having the opportunity, we have 45 meetings where we can spend 15 to 20 minutes with these guys and really get to know them a little bit better. And I think all those are important touch points for us and what we're trying to do in comprising the best roster that we possibly can.
Now, before we get deeper into Combine talk, I did want to reflect on the season that was. 49ers made their third trip to the NFC Championship game over the last 4 years. With that comes turnover at the player level as well as the coaching level. How does the process of reloading your coaching staff compare to that of putting together a 53-man roster?
It's always tough when you have success. People want a piece of who you are, and I think imitation's the greatest form of flattery, so you're flattered, but it's not ideal, losing people like D'Amico Ryans, but you go and you recover and you say, okay. And I think the point is you're not just surprised. He's a pretty good coach, and that might be coming. And so you're always preparing, and you have candidates in place, and there's a lot of good football coaches out there. We feel very blessed that we were able to find someone like Steve Wilks to come in and fill D'Amico's shoes. Steve, I think, through the interview process, number one, just handled himself incredibly well, has tremendous philosophies, ideas that really aligned with who we are. We were just the number one defense, so we don't want to make wholesale changes.
Repeat. Yeah.
And, his base fundamentals really are in line with who we are, and we think he can add some things that will make us even better. You go to the offensive side, guys like Bobby Slowick, really good football coach who's been around us for a while, started on the defensive side, move over to the offense, and he goes with D'Amico, as did some other coaches. So you just kind of replenish. The great news is we have a fantastic head coach who people want to coach for and coach with. And so I think there's a lot of people who are out there that are very qualified, and we go seek them out, but a lot of times they come to us and say, hey, if you had something. And so, we've done that, and there's always adjustment that comes with that. But that's, people say, why isn't our coaching staff here? It's because some of that turnover, they feel like their time's better spent meeting as a staff back at Santa Clara. And in addition, they are here virtually. We're here
Zoom
as a personnel staff.
Now.
And Zoom, COVID taught us that. And those guys are doing a fantastic job of being part of it, although they are at home.
So now for the event at hand and the upcoming draft, because the 49ers situation is not so dissimilar from last year, no first or second round draft picks, what was your biggest takeaway from last season in terms of that late round draft strategy?
Well, I think it's something we've done well in our tenure here, and I really believe it speaks to, the synergies we have as a personnel staff and coaching staff. I think it starts with Kyle and I. We enjoy being around each other. We enjoy challenging each other's views and arriving at conclusions as to who can help us. I think we're good at mapping out a plan. It's looking like 10, maybe 11 picks. We'll see on some of these comp picks. None of them being before about pick 100. And so you have to make them count. And you can't use that as an excuse. You constantly have to be replenishing your roster. It's just the way it is with turnover. And we look forward to that opportunity. That's what it is. It's a great opportunity to make yourself better. And, I think the draft this year, to me, kind of aligns with where we're at, because I don't know if it's necessarily some of the top end guys that have been there in the past, but it is very deep with really good players. So, we're going to make the most of it and look forward to the opportunity.
You talked about making meaningful picks in those late rounds. About a year ago, you found a diamond in the rough, and Brock Purdy changed the course of the 49ers season. What do you remember from his combine performance that piqued your interest and ultimately led to his late season run?
Well, everything that Brock has done has just always been steady, and I think what we found out this year is that he was a lot more than just steady. He performed at a really high level in a tough circumstance, getting thrown in there in the midst of a game against a good team like the Miami Dolphins, and he never blinked. And so you think back to Combine and some of the meetings you had, you think back to the draft process and the things that came from people whom we respect at Iowa State and our scouts that had been through there, changed a program, culture changer. We aren't where we are as a program without these guys. Those things speak volumes. He played a lot of football too, so there was a lot to evaluate. So we did have a good idea. I always joke with people, we did wait till the end of the draft, and so shame on us as well. But Brock, thank God we did turn that pick in, and he Brock's a fantastic player, and I think will be for a long time in this league.
Now, Brock Purdy is just one of two starting caliber quarterbacks that you mentioned that are on the 49ers roster. There's also former first-round pick Trey Lance. Both of those guys are coming off season-ending injuries in 2022. What do you hope to see from them in this next season?
Well, first of all, we just got to have them go through their rehab process. Trey's doing a tremendous job of his. Had the initial surgery, had to do not a correction, but just kind of a second surgery to address some issues with the, where the plate was pressing on tendons and things. He's done that. What I can tell everyone is Trey's looking really good. I look out my office door all the time and see Trey moving without a limp and things. Not to say he's 100%, but he's really doing well in his process, starting to throw the football. So we're excited about Trey and his development. Brock's happened obviously a lot later, so it was well documented. He went to have his surgery last week, and the surgeon, I commend him for making a tough decision. But hey, I don't like where we're at in terms of I want some more swelling out. I want some of the stiffness and things to be out of there before we have the surgery for the best outcome. And so we appreciate his discretion there and sending Brock home, and Brock's doing the rehab to come back at it hopefully early next week and have a successful surgery, and we'll adjust accordingly from there.
You also touched upon this earlier, but a lot of the foundational pieces of this 49ers roster are locked down at least through the 2023 season. How does that affect the way that you approach this NFL scouting combine and the positions of priority for the 49ers?
Yeah, we have a unique opportunity to continue our success. Sometimes people talk about windows. I really don't see it as a window. I think we've managed things well such that this is very sustainable, and that's where the draft is so important. We have after the combine comes free agency, and free agency is important to supplement your team. But the draft is really the lifeblood, and I love the fact that we have 10 picks. Some people might say not ideal because a lot of them aren't early, but like I said, we just got to make them all count, and I think we have a track record of doing that and doing it well.
When you think about the cornerstones of the 49ers roster, it's hard not to think about a guy like Nick Bosa, 2022 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. You've been very adamant about wanting to keep him a 49er for his career. How important is he to just the championship team that you're building?
Nick's a fantastic player, Defensive Player of the Year, and I don't think you'd have many argue that it wasn't earned. He changes us. He's different. He's a tremendous teammate as well. He's just can't say enough great things about Nick Bosa. We're excited to have him moving forward, and we got some work to do to extend him such that he's here for a long, long time, and we're going to go, but I always say when there's the motivations are same on both sides. Yes, it's going to take some patience and persistence. These things aren't easy, but we can do it, and we've shown that with some of our cornerstone players in the past.
And finally, when you have your two starting quarterback options, both on rookie contracts, what kind of freedom does that give you and the rest of the front office in terms of building the roster for 2023?
Well, I think it helps. I think it helps the quarterbacks because they have fantastic players around them. It also helps us to have that many cornerstone players because you're not, yet you have the value of having a quarterback on their rookie deal that doesn't last forever. So you constantly have to be doing planning. But that's what we want to keep doing, throwing a real competitive team. And I'll tell everybody this too. I didn't come here to come close. Kyle didn't come here to become close, nor do our players. Our standards and the standard of the 49ers to win championships. So we're committed to doing everything in our power. Proud of our season, but we want to win a championship. And thus you go about it and you put a plan together. You put a vision for how we improve our team, and you start executing. And this is an exciting time to start that process.
Well, thank you, John, for the time. I know you got a lot of work to do here, so we'll leave you to it.
Thanks a lot, Lindsay.